How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Stupid Questions Podcast. Today on the pod, we're going to be talking with Sean Leader. He is a man of the outdoors. He does a number of things. He runs a company called Southern Gravity, which is a trail building crew, amongst other things, to build amazing bike parks. If you are from the East Coast region, you may be familiar with the Knoxville area. Just north of Knoxville, there is a bike park called Windrock Bike Park that Sean had a huge hand in starting and then eventually selling. He does a number of different things. Check out the show notes if you are interested in who he is and what he does on the trail building front. Used to be a professional downhill mountain biker, so there's also that really awesome aspect of him. And he's just an all-around great guy from Tennessee, and I love Tennessee. So thank you so much for being here. Check out the show notes again for not only that, but to support the podcast in any way that you might want to, through socks or these bar bags here that are lining up there. Yeah. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Sean Leader. Awesome. Well, Sean, I know I said this off air, but I'll say it again on air so people think I'm polite. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate you jumping on the East Coast. I guess it's pretty late for you. I mean, not super late, but definitely later than it is here in California.
Yeah,
So thank you.
appreciate having me.
Yeah. How you doing today?
Good, man. Yeah, it's snowed over here in East Tennessee, it happens maybe once a year, and
Yeah.
it snowed a few days ago, so it's still been melting off. So it's been kind of a slow few days.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. How much did you guys get?
It was like 6 inches at my house, which for
Yeah, that's
here
a lot.
that's a lot. It kind of shuts thing down.
Yeah. Yeah, I may have told you this, I can't remember, but my wife's parents, so my in-laws, they live in Jellicoe, Tennessee, which is like, I want to say 25, 30 minutes north of maybe of where Windrock is, around Oak
Hmm.
Ridge area.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small little area.
Yeah. Yeah, they were saying they were going to get like 20 or 30 inches at one point, and I was like, oh, as soon as I move away, we missed the snowstorm of the decade, and then nothing.
Yeah, it'd have been bad news if that happened.
Yeah, no kidding. Cool, dude. Well, so a number of different things I'd love to dive into. But the first, I want to get a little interpersonal with you, if that's cool. So the first question I have for you is, from your account, who is Sean?
Hmm. Well, I'd say I'm an outdoors enthusiast,
Hmm.
and I basically live my life to optimize my time getting outside and recreating.
Yeah. Okay. Where did you grow up?
I grew up here in East Tennessee. Yeah, I'm from this area, and yeah, I've been here my whole life.
Nice. You never moved away, even for a short period of time, huh?
Short periods of times for sure. Like I traveled a lot, like a whole lot, from pretty young age, but definitely like once I was in high school and through college and the years after, I traveled like a bunch.
Yeah.
Was on the road for probably 10 years.
Wow. That's a long
And
time.
would stay in some places. Like I was in Colorado for almost a year. And, but yeah, I would stay places like quite a long time. Like I was in Australia for 3 months at a time, and I'd go and come back, go and come back. So, yeah, I spent a lot of time away from here,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, just kept wanting to come back here.
Yeah. What pulls you back to East Tennessee still?
The mountains here are amazing. Yeah, the mountains here are just so good. It's year round, so there's no off season, and you can keep at it, and they're just different. These mountains are really similar to a lot of like the European mountains, but they're steep and raw, and they stay wet, so it's just a good place to be for me.
Yeah. In terms of just like the malleability of dirt for making features and stuff like that.
Yeah, trail building's great, and the ability to have the parks open year round is really good. But yeah, the soil's really nice, and then yeah, just I really enjoy the riding here. The kayaking's amazing. Like, when you have steep mountains like this, it pushes down into these big rocky creeks and makes for
Hmm.
like really exceptional creek boating. And
Yeah, it's fun.
so yeah, I get a kind of a hybrid mix of different sports. And then in the summer, we spend a lot of time on the lakes and the
Hmm.
the dam controlled rivers.
Love the
So yeah,
TVA.
yeah, TVA man, they keep us going in the summer. It'd be rough without them.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's funny. I moved out here to Northern California for a little bit of an adventure. We'll probably end up back actually in Tennessee before too terribly long in the next few years. But mountain biking, grew up. So I was born in Brevard. So there's a lot of mountain biking out there, and got a little bit of touch of it in high school and in college, and even after those days. And I thought I was a decent rider. And then I came out here on the West Coast, and it's like dry and shaly, and like I just had to kind of rewrite my brain for how to control my bike, especially for the downhill scene. It's like so different. I like the tacky stuff too, even if it's wet routes. I'd rather have that than all this rocky junk.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember my first season racing in Colorado and Utah and just losing so much skin, like just constantly pushing the front end and just eating shit, you know, and
Yeah.
it's just different, you know. It's just a
So
different
different.
skill set.
Yeah. So do you have any siblings?
I do, yeah. I have a brother and sister, both older than me.
Okay.
We're all pretty close, yeah. Yeah, my whole family's pretty close. We talk and hang out quite a bit.
Yeah. Were you a biking family growing up?
Um, Not really my parents, just me and my brother. And so me and my brother spent a lot of time outdoors together, from rock climbing, kayaking, and then mountain biking. And so yeah, we spent a lot of time together.
Mm. When was your first time riding a bike?
I mean, we always rode when we were little kids, but we started getting pretty serious about going mountain biking in middle school. So I was
Mm.
maybe like 13, 14 when I started like buying nice full suspension bikes and riding all the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, the facilities we had to ride back then are very different than what they are now. So I mean,
Yeah.
um, it's just kind of a different sport back then.
Yeah. With being the youngest, do you feel like that was advantageous to you in the way that you grew up, have maybe learning lessons a little quicker than you might have if you were the firstborn?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so for sure. And I feel like as the youngest one, you're always like working extra hard to like I don't know, to like gain respect, you know?
From the
Um,
siblings?
yeah, from your siblings or your family in general. So
Mm.
I feel like that probably pushed me to like have a lot of drive to like, you know, show your value.
Yeah. So who do you think you're more like, your mom or your dad?
My dad for sure. I mean, both have really great qualities and
Sure.
but me and my dad are just we're really similar. I mean, we kind of our brains work the same.
Yeah. Is he, well, I guess I should ask you, do you consider yourself an entrepreneur? And was he also of the entrepreneurial mindset?
Yeah, I would say I consider myself an entrepreneur, and he was as well. Yeah, he he built a business that's just incredible to see how big he's grown it, and with the help of my mother, they're both solid entrepreneurs. I mean, she handles a lot of the back end and the finance side of it, and then my dad is really the hands-on
Get out
building
there and
and
make it happen.
constructing. Yeah, making it happen. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
What kind of business? Is it construction, like real estate, residential, or?
No, they own an industrial manufacturing business that builds hydraulic equipment for mounting and demounting industrial wheels and tires. Specifically, forklifts are a big primary part of their business. So every forklift around the country, that the way that wheel and tire works, the way it's pushed together is with a hydraulic press,
Mm.
and it's semi-unique to the United States. So when my parents moved here from South Africa, my dad was working as a forklift mechanic at one point and noticed a need for a customized piece of equipment that could make the job easier. And that's when he designed his first hydraulic press that would help him mount these tires. And from there, it just grew out of my parents' basement. They still live in the same house today,
That's awesome.
um, and they, now they have big facility and 30, 40 employees that get after it, making this custom equipment.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love those stories about an entrepreneur's rise when it's not something that's like a tech company or something super flashy and sexy, like just the granular detail and the niche to understand that type of a product would be needed, that type of service would be needed.
Yep.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's not sexy work. There's nothing
Yeah.
sexy about it, and it's still a dirty job. But yeah, when you get into those nuances of like how transportation and how the world really works. And
Mm,
there's so many little avenues there. And especially if you can focus on some kind of piece of equipment that just makes people's lives easier and makes it happen. Yeah. There's always a niche there.
yeah. So, did you, from a pretty young age, start to get some hands-on experience of like, obviously the observation, but getting to work in these situations, like with your family growing that business?
Yeah. I was always, that was, they were taking me to work all the time, so that was daycare. We were hanging out there
Yeah,
but I was really interested in it too. I wanted to be there,
yeah.
and I wanted to learn about welding and machining and fabricating. So from a young age, like I always had projects down there. I was always building something. And so you learn so much of it there. But, you learn the ups and the downs of it too. I mean, their business when I was young, they were putting everything into it. It was a fight still. And it wasn't really till I was in high school where I started feeling like their business was like really well rounded and moving well.
Mm,
But I mean, yeah, you get to see all of it for sure.
yeah. Yeah, that's such a good education. Do you feel like, or what is something you learned during those formative years of, I guess, getting to work and observe that school couldn't teach you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Maybe there's nothing.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know. School. I mean, school can teach you a lot, but until you, I feel like the school system is designed around like getting you into a field of work where you're not necessarily coming up with all of it yourself
Yeah.
and having to figure those things out. So, um, I mean, I stayed in school. I have a college degree, and I think that it was very helpful for me. I use it every day, and um, it builds discipline and structure to your life, and those are really important things. But when it comes down to making a business work, I don't know. There's only so much schooling that can really help you. At some point, you just have to dive into it
Mm,
and learn things the hard way.
yeah. Yeah, no kidding. So let me ask you this. What part of your personality do you think has been the biggest advantage in your life? And maybe what has been the most costly?
Well, I'd say just like the willingness to get shit done, however you can, like
Yeah.
and so that I think a lot of people probably don't have that. Like they're too scared to just figure out how to do it. Um, and then I'd say that I work really hard on patience, and I think that over the last 10 years, like I've learned a lot in that department to just like really be patient with people, be patient with the process, and that takes time. Like I think you can get frustrated really easily, and it's not it's not normally beneficial to you. So it takes time to learn that skill, and
Mm,
I always struggle with that. And
same.
so I feel like if I put conscious effort into it, it's like I get better at it every year.
Mm. Yeah, so every year, past 10 years, I guess, is when you had started Southern Gravity, which is kind of encompasses, I think, most of what you do, if I'm not mistaken.
hmm
What was before that? Like, what led to the, oh, I think I'm going to start this thing, give it a name, and,
Yeah, before that was a lot of years of traveling and racing full time. So
hmm
I got opportunity to ride for a really good program, and we were racing the Enduro World Series. So I got a couple years to do that, and I had some other good opportunities to race some cross country racing. So I spent a lot of time just traveling and racing leading up to that, and I think those opportunities are what really like makes you appreciate what you have at home,
mm,
and you can see from all these other parks and all these other trail building situations, like what works well and what doesn't work, and then you can bring that home and apply it to what you have in mind. Um, so yeah, leading up to that, I was spending a lot of time traveling, and I was working side work all through that time.
just to
I
make money.
just to make money, yeah, and mostly online. I studied graphic design in college, so
Okay.
I did have some pretty good skill set to be able to work remotely. I was building websites for people, doing a lot of photography, and I made pretty good money shooting photography at the time. Like this was before Instagram and what we the media world we have now, where you were selling photos for ads and
Mm,
for magazine spreads or for trade shows. So I was able to make pretty good money shooting photography before transitioning into what we are now.
Yeah. Did you get where you wanted to go as a professional athlete?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, I took it as far as I could, but I have a bad tendency to like keep moving through disciplines. Like I have a hard time like sticking with a discipline for life.
Yeah.
I'm very curious on like all the different disciplines of outdoor sports.
Yeah.
So,
Your
if
Instagram shows that.
yeah, and if that's your reality, like you're never going to be the best at doing one thing. You're just going to be like pretty good at doing a lot of things.
Mm,
And so I think you have to accept that at some point, like what you really want in life. And to me, I think having the freedom to one day I can ride dirt bikes, one day I can ride a mountain bike, the next day I can go kayaking. Like to have that freedom, you're not going to be you're not going to be the top of a sport. It's not going to
yeah.
happen.
Mm. Did you have to go through a mourning process internally when you like decided, oh, I kind of want this over? I don't know if it was a world champion or whatever you wanted to be, but did you have
Yeah.
to let that die and kind of mourn that a little bit?
I don't think I really had too much. I mean, I still feel like today I'm getting more talented at the sports that I'm trying to do right now. I think I'm still progressing, and so I never really had false delusions that it was going to be my life.
Yeah.
I spent my time going to college focusing on that, and I always felt like I kept it as like a strong hobby. And I think I learned from a young age that I was good at doing a lot of different things, and that I wasn't going to be the best at doing one thing. So I feel like I didn't have to like have a come to Jesus moment where I
Hmm.
had a reality check. Like,
Yeah. Did you ever, or do you have any regret associated with that jack of all trades mindset? Like you're like, oh, I kind of wish maybe I would have focused on one thing.
I don't think I do. I think it's a really fun life to be able to tap into all these different things and enjoy like what's out there. So I don't think there's been really a moment where I'm upset about it. Yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about college bringing around like the discipline aspect of learning how to get things done, being consistent. What is the thing for you that motivates you to continue with that discipline? That I guess your why behind what you do.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, I still strive to like improve on everything I do.
Hmm.
So I think finding that inner balance of like and drive is tough. And but at the end of the day, I feel like I just want to do better than I did the time before. And I've got guys who count on me, and I think that helps. Like we have I think 8 employees, and so those guys count on me to make sure that work is coming in, and
Get a
and I
paycheck.
think yeah, so that helps. It's I'm making sure that those guys are, you know, payroll's getting made and the jobs are coming in. So I think that really helps the drive.
Mm. So what's taking up the most mental bandwidth for you right now?
Mm, I think most mental bandwidth right now is more like back end computer side of things. So in the winters I put a lot of focus on making sure that we've lined up jobs for the year and just building out like website stuff and portfolio type stuff to send to clients. So right now through the winter, it's a little nastier outside. Trail building isn't exactly ideal. So I try and spend the winters like really putting my mental energy into how I can grow the business on the computer side of things and the presentation.
Yeah. Mm. So over the course of 10 years of doing this business, I'm curious to know, when you, I guess, have your first track build or whatever the project is, like you have to do a level of estimation and understanding, okay, here's how much work it's going to take, much material, renting machines. I'm sure, I don't know what all it is, but a lot of different things. For that first project, how close did you come to breaking even? Did you make a profit? And then 10 years later, do you feel like you've gotten just a lot better at the estimation side so you can price things out accordingly and make your money?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think got to be it's got to be the same for everybody in every field that's trying to quote and bid jobs. Like you're going to make mistakes along the way. Uh, when I started out, I was fortunate to have the freedom to explore trail building on my own terms. So I bought land. I bought land where I live now and started renting machines and just building stuff in my backyard. So that really allowed me to explore the work on my own terms and never really felt like I was losing money. I was making an investment in myself. And then from there, we built Windrock Bike Park, which was almost the same scenario where it was a we couldn't lose because we had a contract with the land that was pending on how many tickets we sold, not a fixed price. And that allows us to have that freedom of like, we could put in as much effort as we wanted and as much money as we wanted, and we didn't have to meet, a monthly payment for the land. So
So it was a
that
percentage of sales. Sorry if
a
I'm
percentage
understanding
of, yeah, a percentage
of
of
the
lift ticket
tickets.
sales. Yep.
Okay.
Which was great. That really allowed us to like explore what we could and couldn't do.
Mm.
And you know, we didn't start taking on outside work away from Windrock Bike Park until about 6 years into it. And so at that point, we had really dialed our craft in. We had a good idea of how many feet we could move in a day and what the equipment costs were going to be and what was going to break. So we really got to explore those things on pretty cool terms that I don't think a lot of people have that flexibility. But even when we did start bidding out work and working away from the park, we definitely underbid some projects and learned some lessons and overbid some projects and made up for it. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah. And now we do a lot of fabrication for parks and we build a lot of different pieces like gates and doors and just things that your park needs that you don't really think about that aren't trail building. And those can be really hard. So I'm relearning the like how do I bid this to make sense and not come under on my quote. So it's a never ending process I think as far as that goes.
Mm. So in all of your endeavors, do you feel like that there's any part of you that was trying to impress anyone in your life or anything internally as for like the reason for working so hard and doing the things that you do?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think my parents first for sure. Like I wanted to make sure that they felt like they succeeded by you know by me succeeding. So yeah, absolutely. I think they're number one for sure. And then yeah, my wife Emily, like I think I want to make sure that she's taken care of and that our house is everything we need. And so those are the most important people to me. And yeah, other than that, I think just yourself is making sure that you're impressing yourself. It's always good.
Yeah. Are you impressing yourself?
Some days.
Yeah.
No, so there's some days, but some days are rough.
Yeah. What makes a rough day rough?
I feel like it'll build like just everything around you is breaking.
Hmm.
And it's less and less these days, but I feel like 4 years ago, there would be some rough days where equipment was going down, people weren't showing up,
Hmm.
clients were hard on you, the weather wasn't cooperating, and it would, build and build. And then at some point, you're just like, you have that feeling that just nothing can go right.
Mm.
Um, but things are getting more dialed. Like every year, you just start to figure those things out, and you can reinvest in your equipment. And we have really nice equipment now. We have nice trucks, nice trailers, nice excavators, and um, we, I never wanted to take out big loans and be in over my head on that. I always kind of grew with the capital I had. So that can make those first years like really tough, but now things are a little bit easier. Like we can afford to buy nice equipment and count on it not breaking down. We can call a tech and have a tech come out and fix it, where before there was no way I was going to do that. I was underneath the truck fixing it myself. And
Mm.
um, so, yeah, things change, I guess.
Yeah. So a few questions around that. First, you were mentioning, like you feel like you get into that mindset, oh, nothing can go right. Is there any like protocol or anything that you do to reality check yourself to get back to a sound place of mind, or is it just time? Like, is there anything that happens to get you out of that spot?
For sure, like an internal monologue first, like you gotta, at least I have to continue to tell myself like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I think getting out and going riding is always the answer for me. Like
Mm,
sometimes you'll just catch yourself where you've worked for 3 weeks straight and you haven't taken a break. And I think that is is what makes it worse. So if I can get
yeah.
time to get out and go for a ride, I value that so much. I mean,
Yeah.
last year I feel like I had my best year building the business. You know, we had great jobs, great clients, and I still was able to probably get out 100 days for myself between kayaking and riding dirt bikes.
Let's
And
go.
so that was a huge success for me. And I think that if I can continue to work in that capacity, that'd be amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
so I
Mm,
just value getting outside and riding so much that if I make a little bit less money every year, but have all my needs met, I'd rather spend the time outside.
I really think that's what success is all about, even outside of monetary. I mean, you have to have some monetary income, obviously, to support that type of a lifestyle. But I feel like rather than just like a giant sum of money in your account or owning a ton of whatever, um, yeah, having that ability to take that break is so huge. And it's so helpful too, because like yesterday I had a crazy experience that like left me in just like a absolutely foul but sad mood. So I went out and did like a really hard bike workout for an hour and a half, and honestly went way too hard. But it always puts things back into perspective once you get back home and you've depleted yourself. It's just like a humbling thing, like, oh yeah, well, things don't seem that bad when I'm too tired to care about it, you know?
Yep,
Yeah.
no doubt. Yeah, I feel the same way. It's always the answer for me. Get outside and do something.
Yeah. Is your dad proud of you?
I I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think so for sure. And
Yeah.
I mean, um, yeah, I talk to him every day. Like he helps me so much. We have our own fab shop now, and 5 years ago we were building a lot of products out of his shop and taking up a lot of his space. And when I sold Windrock, I was able to buy a facility that we could create our own fab shop in. So yeah, I think he's really enjoyed like being able to help us out with that. And if we have questions, we'll call him, or if we have a something that we can't do with the equipment we have, he'll help out. So um, yeah, I think we have a really good relationship together.
Yeah. Emily, she
Yeah,
proud?
yeah, yeah, I think so.
Well,
We're having our first child here soon, so that's
oh
exciting.
no.
That's gonna be a new chapter in life. So she's like pretty far along now. She's due in April, so um,
Let's go.
yeah, it's cool. I'm excited.
That's so awesome. My wife is expecting our first in like a week or two. We're not sure. So we're
Oh,
like just batting down the hatches. Yeah.
cool, man. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I think it's yeah, I'm stoked.
What are you having? Do you know?
A boy.
A boy. Nice.
Yeah. And you?
We're having a little girl. Which at first, before we got pregnant, I was like, I think I want a boy first. I really think it's gonna be a boy. And then it's a girl, and I'm in trouble. I know that because my little sister, she has, or my middle sister, she has two young kids, and she just had a little girl about a year ago, and I am like complete putty in that girl's hands. So I can only imagine once I have my own, I'm gonna really have to work on how to not just be completely soft. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm really looking forward to it too. The motivation's already there. I've never felt more motivated to work hard, but do a good job, provide. So it's a good time of life. It may be a little different when we first have her, and I can't sleep, and I may be losing my mind a little bit, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what to expect, but yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. How long you been married?
Well, we've been together since uh 2012 or so.
Okay,
So,
nice.
um yeah, we never had a formal wedding or anything, but
Okay.
yeah, we've been together since 2012, so quite a while now.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. What have you learned in your relationship that you feel like has also translated over to the way that you lead as a business owner?
Oh yeah, so much. Yeah, I think you just have to learn that you're not making all the rules, you know. You have to work together as a team. You have to cooperate with each other, and even small little things that you might argue about, it's just not a big deal, And so I think if you can figure out how to stay with somebody for 10 years or so and live with them, you're you're going to learn some patience, and flexibility. And I think I've applied that so much to the guys at work, where it's just you have to everyone's different, and you have to accept people for who they are, and try and get each person into the right role that makes sense for them, and ask them to do the things that they're going to do best at. And
Mm,
um, yeah, and there's got to be some flexibility. You're not always going to be perfectly happy with somebody, and you might look over and wonder why they're doing something some way. But if you just let people have a little bit of freedom, like, it'll get done. It might not be exactly how you're going to do it, but it'll get done. And yeah, there's no use in like micromanaging every little thing. You'll
yeah.
just drive yourself crazy.
Have you driven yourself crazy over that? Like, have you gone through a season where micromanaging seemed like the only way to do it?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. In the early days, yeah, definitely, you would just find yourself doing everything or like going over everything.
Mm,
But these days, I try and ease up a little bit, and yeah, just let people do their thing. And then, if you obviously can't let everything go. Like if you see something cutting corners, or not acceptable to a client, like to me, it's what we present to a client directly reflects me. So
yeah.
um, at the end of the day, you do have to oversee the final product. And if you feel like you're not getting represented how you want to, like, you do have to say something. But there's a lot of things that you can let go, and nobody will notice.
Yeah. Have you ever tied your self worth too closely to a project
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm pretty bad about that.
still?
Yeah, still, like, I really want to do a great job, and um, yeah. And so, I mean, and I feel like I want to offer the right price to somebody too. Like, I don't want to overcharge somebody. I think that I feel really bad if I feel like I've taken advantage of somebody, as far as like a price of something goes. So I feel like I want to offer the best price I possibly can to everybody. And I feel like the work just directly reflects me as a person, and my work ethic. So um, yeah, sometimes I get pretty invested in something, and I'll spend way too many hours like making sure it's exactly how I want it. But um, yeah.
Have you ever almost quit the work because it got too hard or it was too overwhelming in any of those ways?
Yeah, for for sure. I mean, I've had some times where a client is just like, you're not seeing eye to eye or having a tough time, and I have definitely had some moments where I was like, it's time to quit. And typically, I think pushing through is the better answer. But
Yeah.
yes, but I mean, sometimes it does make sense to move on. It's I've had scenarios where it just makes sense to walk away from something where it's um, it's not worth the fight. So.
Yeah. Mm. Who typically, if you're allowed to say, ends up being the biggest roadblock in these types of projects? Is it the person who comes to you officially, or I guess are these all open bid contracts typically, or is it
No,
like invite only thing? Okay.
a lot of what I would do is invite only. Almost all of it is personal. Somebody reaching out to us, and
Yeah.
we don't take on very many clients. Like, we don't work with a lot of people. Our resume is pretty small on how many people we work with. We try and find projects that are going to go on for at least a year, if possible. Um, and we try and find projects that are going to be like a long-term relationship where we're continuing to supply them. Um, but normally a roadblock will be someone who, for as far as like trail building stuff goes, it's somebody who doesn't necessarily ride, but they're involved in the project. And so their priorities aren't on the best riding experience. They're maybe on the best experience like at the venue. And I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good a venue is or how good the
It's
atmosphere
got to
is.
ride
If
well.
it's got to ride well. And so I think that's normally where you're going to get your biggest hang up, is just too many heads in the room that they
They don't
don't
ride.
understand that they don't ride, and the number one priority. I mean, people come to your place to ride, not to have a good hamburger.
Yeah.
It's just
It's great if you have a great taco truck, but if you don't have good trails, like, and it doesn't flow right, nobody's coming.
Exactly. Yep.
How do you learn that? Like, because so I've taken my hand and a shovel to try to make, some minor features, and I have friends who do a really good job of it. But I'm always amazed at how something I build, I'm like envisioning this great thing, and then I'm like, oh, this is nothing like I thought it would be. So how do you learn that skill set to like look at something? Or let me ask this question rather, scrap all that. Can you look at a trail before riding it and know that's going to ride well?
Yeah. Yeah, I think for sure.
What are you looking
Because
for?
you start to be able to see slope really well. So the angle, the pitch of the hill, you start to be able to like see that really well, and you can tell if something's at 5% versus 10% slope. Um, and then the spacing and angles, you start to like just have the eye for it. And I think a lot of these things come down to like I feel like the best trail builders, a lot of times they're just artists in general, and
Mm-hmm.
they can see shape very well, um, so it's you're training your eye to be able to see that, and you can justify it with things like you can use scopes that you'll look through and they'll tell you what percentage, and I still use those when I'm flagging trails. Um,
Cool.
but your eye starts to calibrate to slope, angle, and just general shape and spacing, and the spacing and size of things. That the only way you're gonna get good at that is you have to be good at riding. I mean, I don't think I've met somebody who's building amazing trails who's not a really good rider.
Mm,
I think you can.
true
There's kind of a
that.
cap of like you can build within things that you can understand. Um, so we try, and everybody on our crew is really talented mountain bikers, and even if there are riders that maybe not quite as good, I'll put them on something that's within their scope. Like a guy who can ride a black trail, but they're not really good at it. They can probably build a green trail pretty good. But if you want to build big black trail features, you better be really good at riding.
Yeah. That's so fascinating. I think I liken it to like a really good landscaper because you can have a good landscaper and a bad landscaper, but just to be able to see, like you're saying, the rounded edges, the uniformity, the asymmetry or the symmetry needed to make something look appealing, which I guess goes back to your graphic design
Hmm.
desire, like the artistic side of you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean you know when you study something like design, we take hours and hours of art classes amongst that. And I was always very interested in art as a high schooler and middle schooler as well. And so you just, you know, you, yeah, that's very important to you. That the shape and the angle, the aesthetics of things are very important. So yeah, I think that has helped me a lot.
Is trail building like especially on the East Coast, is it a fairly competitive thing? Like are there a lot of skilled trail building crews?
Yeah, it is so competitive now.
Really?
And I think the biggest thing that's making it competitive too is that it's an industry that people are willing to travel for.
Mm.
So, it's not like you're in one town and you're just fighting with landscapers that are just in your town. It's as though you have landscapers from 6 hours from you that are coming and trying to take your jobs as well. So we're fighting with companies from all over the country. I mean, we're getting outbid on projects that the people are coming from Colorado or from California or from
Wow.
up north. So you're not only just fighting with your really regional trail builders, you're having pressure from farther, way farther out. And then just right here in the southeast, the amount of trail building companies has just grown so much in the last 5 years.
Hmm.
Um, so it can make it really tough. I mean, we've put in a lot of bids in the last few years that we have not won, and I feel like we have a pretty solid resume right now. And
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, you're fighting some good companies and a lot of growing companies. Like there's a handful of trail building businesses right now that are very big, like 40 plus employees, and they're you know they have a lot of people in their business helping with the back end, putting in bid projects, putting together bid packets. They've got landscape architects, and then they have just so many trail builders and so much equipment. And so there's a handful of companies now that you're fighting with that are nationwide companies that are taking a lot of the work. And to me, that's not really I don't want to grow our trail building business to be that big. I have no interest in that.
Hmm.
So I'll take the work I can get, but I'm not trying to have a business with 40 guys or 50 guys and be nationwide. Like that just sounds like I'd never get to ride a bike again. So
Or spend time with your little boy.
exactly, yeah. So I'm happy with the work that we get, and I've built our business to be very diverse too. And so I feel pretty protected. Like even if if I'm a little nervous, like, hey, we don't have anything lined up 6 months from now, at least I know that our fab shop's probably got work lined up. We own a bike shop, and we can shift guys around into different parts of the business, and we can focus on growing different parts of the business. And
Hmm.
I think having that diversity just frees up your mind to not be so stressed.
Yeah. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? I may be a little. We're young. I mean, how old are you?
I'll be 37 this year.
Okay, so you're a little older than me, so you're probably thinking about some legacy. Maybe. Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What do you want it to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd like to continue to make a mark on downhill in the southeast, and I think we've put in
Done
pretty
that?
good steps to that. Yeah, but it's continuing to keep it growing. It'll if you let off the gas pedal, it's it's gonna back off. I mean, we've had highs and lows of it here in the southeast, and so we're on a pretty good trajectory right now, and I want to make sure that we keep that going, whatever that may be. Like I don't participate in the sport as much these days, but
Hmm.
I'm doing my best to contribute to it, whether I'm sponsoring some young riders or helping with events however I can or building new venues.
Yeah.
Um, so to me, I think that's where I hope I'll leave a legacy is just like continuing to grow that sport and keep it together. Um, and then I think I also just want to represent the people who are multidisciplinary athletes who want to explore so much different parts of the outdoors. So I'd like to leave a legacy as an outdoor athlete who is um, admired by people who aren't going to just race downhill. Who want to see the wilderness for more than just one sport.
Yeah.
So that's been really important to me. I've spent a lot of time rock climbing and kayaking and mountain biking. Now I'm really into moto these days. So
What are you
hopefully
riding?
yeah, mostly like hard enduro wood stuff. And I our bike shop is now a Sherco dealer, and
Or-
I bought one a couple of years ago. Love the bike, and so I got our shop set up as a dealer. And I have kind of a bad problem with that. Like when I get into something, I'm like, how can I become a dealer of it? How can I like
Yeah.
set, how can I have a good stock and supply of what I use the most? Um, but I think that
Fund your
makes you,
hobby.
yeah, how can you fund your hobby? But it also like gets you like dialed into the sport too. And so, to
Understand the
me, like,
customer.
yeah, you understand the customer and you understand what's going to break and what do you need to have extra stuff of. And, so, whatever it may be, like our bike shop has like everything you could possibly break on a Sherco 300. Like we're going to have it in stock, or the same with a downhill bike. Like we have one of everything that you could break on your downhill bike. We're going to keep it in stock. Um, and then we'll ship it to people if they need it. You can buy it online and ship it out. So we try and like keep the stuff that I know is what you need to go
Yeah.
racing or to keep your bike going. I try and keep that on hand.
Hmm. That's so cool. Do you have your like a temperature on how the growth of the downhill cross country mountain bike scene is growing? Just so you can know, like, okay, well, what size park should we be building? Are are we? Is there enough demand for making new bike parks here or there?
Yeah. Yeah, I stay really involved in the racing community. And I'm still really good friends with the Malalis who own Downhill Southeast. And I spent a lot of years being a part of that. And so I keep pretty intact with like what the numbers are and how they're doing. I mean, we had a really high peak at the end of the COVID years. And we've tapered off a little bit, but I think it's a manageable taper, and we're still in a good place right now. But yeah, I keep I keep very involved in the sport, enough to know like what the demand really is.
What do you think is responsible for growth?
I think it's probably two part. You're, you can build the media side of it and have new people get eyes on it that didn't see it before, but
Hmm.
it's also largely the economy can play a role in it.
Oh,
You know, it's it's not a cheap sport. I think specifically downhill riding is it's very expensive hobby, and I think the economy can play a big role in that. How much budget people have to travel, how much people extra money they have to be able to buy new equipment. So I think the economy can have a huge hit to a sport like downhill, and we saw that in 2008 to 2011. There was just a massive fall off,
hmm.
and I think we've been building from 2012 to now. The sport's been building and building and building, and I think it reached its high point there just in probably 22,
Yeah.
um, and we're seeing it come back down a little bit, but I have faith that we're gonna at least plateau and keep running with what we've got going on. So
Yeah.
um, at this point, I feel like maybe the economy's not great, but we can keep building with the media side of it, getting new eyes on the sport.
Yeah. Mm. Good insight. Thank you for sharing that. Um, with the breadth of your experience, and we've talked a number of times around patience and discipline, but particularly patience and how you've been able to curate that and grow it over time. Obviously, still an area of growth, I think, for anybody. But I'm wanting to know, what advice do you think that you could give your younger self that he wouldn't listen to?
Hmm. Um, yeah, I don't really know. That's a tough one. I definitely think my younger self was, um, I don't know, maybe more of a risk taker, um, like more willing to like push things as hard as I possibly could. But I don't know. I don't know that I'd be where I am today if I didn't have that mentality. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm not really sure. That's a tough one.
Is that nature or nurture? Like that, throw yourself downhill as fast as you can on two wheels, the metaphor for also doing entrepreneurship. Like, do you think that's nature or nurture?
I think I don't know. I want to say it's nature, but at the same time, I definitely was a product of nurture. I think like my parents' situation was like absolutely like it was probably more of nurture. Like I watched them go all in on what they were doing and find success like after a lot of years of struggling and
Hmm.
pushing through it. So that's got to be some nurture to it.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
but maybe pure risk taking, there's got to be some nature to it as well. So maybe a bit of mix.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, it really struck me when I was asking you about your parents. What did you say? You said something about them not necessarily being proud of you, but or when I asked you who you wanted to impress, maybe that was it. Like you said pretty right away, like your parents. Um, I don't think most people would admit that. Like you seem to
Yeah,
have a pretty high self understanding or self awareness. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think I have pretty good self awareness. I hope
Yeah.
so. I mean, um, I try and step back and see things for how they are, and um, yeah, you get a lot of people like I feel like if you come from a family where if your parents have reached a level of success, you get a lot of people who can just talk shit to you or hate on you because they're like, "Oh, you're mega privileged and it
Mm-hmm.
must be easier for you because you have everything and you've gotten everything
Trust
your whole
fund
life."
baby. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just, you know, when you watch your parents like work so hard to build something and they finally do succeed and I don't know. It can piss me off like when I hear people say that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. I definitely got it when I was younger. Like when we first started Windrock, we'd get a lot of comments that were like, "Oh, his parents bought him a bike park and this and that," and it would just enrage me
Tear you up.
because it wasn't the case. Like my parents were for sure like at least my dad was always willing to help like fix broken trucks or whatever, but they weren't going to hand me a dollar. They were going to
Mm-hmm.
make me figure it out the hard way, and we we put every dollar we had into that place to make it work. And so it would frustrate me when I'd hear that kind of thing. So I guess when it comes back to like, I don't know, I feel like a obligation to like um, make sure that I work really hard for what I have, and that's how my parents did it. And I don't really ask for anything from them, other than just love and support.
Hmm.
So
Do you think that you will raise your own son in the same way? And is there anything different that you want to do and with your parenting that you had growing up that you're not necessarily a fan of?
yeah, I think I hope to raise my son in the same way. Yeah, for sure. Where you can only provide so much. There's like a balance of how much you can provide, and at least I think so. But yeah, I think my parents were really good at that. They were really good at being fair amongst our siblings, and they had a really good balance of how much to provide to give you the opportunity for success, but not just hand you everything where it was too easy to fail. So I hope to do that. I'd say like probably my biggest thing that I want to do well as a parent that um, is just try and stay level headed. Um, yeah, keep my cool and stay level headed. So that's something I focus on pretty much every day.
Do you ever lose your cool?
Absolutely. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. For
How
sure.
does that?
But
Yeah.
I've gotten, in the last 5 years, I feel like I've gotten so much better at it. And,
Mm.
but I feel like that's an everyday fight for people who have that tendency. So I work on it, and, I think I've gotten a lot better at it.
Yeah. Did you ever manifest it? I'm just asking this because let me give you some context because this is gonna sound like a weird question. So I feel like patience is definitely one of the things that I've had to learn how to curate, and it's still very much a growing segment of who I am. I consider myself an entrepreneur. Um, I ride bikes, so there's some similarities there. So a lot of the ways that my blowing up would manifest itself, like I would say probably like 7 years ago, was like I would lose control and I would want to break something. I never was like physically abusive toward anyone, but if there was a thing that I in the moment saw that needed to be destroyed, it would just give me this cathartic release. And there's a lot of trauma going on there and a lot of therapy that had to happen to kind of change that. And it's still temptation at times. But did that ever manifest itself in you and the way that you dealt with things?
Absolutely. I mean, just I would rip doors off the hinges and smash through windows and break laptops in half, and um, yeah, and the same thing. Like you're never going to hurt somebody else, but if there's something that you can break that's nearby, you're gonna do it. And
What?
it's been a it's I feel like I've made it a lot of years and haven't done that, and I think at some point you realize that there's got to be a better way to cope with things.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
But why do you think it feels so good to do
I
that?
don't know. My dad did it, and I grew up learning that that was the way to deal with things, pushing
Mm,
holes through walls and breaking doors. And um, he doesn't do it anymore. I mean, he seems super calm and level-headed these days. It maybe took him a little bit longer to get there, and um, but I don't know why it feels so good. I mean, it's sometimes that's the best thing you can do, but you
yeah,
just feel like an idiot afterwards. Like you crack like that, and then a day later or even an hour later, you just feel like an absolute idiot. You're like,
yeah,
why did I do that? What did I gain out of that?
yeah,
So. Hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
but some people probably don't understand what we're saying. I think a
yeah.
lot of people probably don't have that kind of feeling. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that do though, and
It
just
feels
got to keep working
powerful.
at it.
It feels
Yeah.
powerful. I mean, I'm trying to think of all the things that especially in my high school years, there were some doors, some closet doors that I took off the hinges. My laptop, I smashed a guitar. That was a real dumb one. It was like a decent guitar. It was actually my father's guitar, who had passed away. So that was a real dumb one. I threw my phone so hard one time it like went stuck in the wall. That was a really stupid one. And like I some bowls, and now the most that I've done in the past couple of years was like I was like I've got to do something, but I can't break anything. So I just threw I think like a pair of socks as hard as I could at the wall, and it's just not the same when you don't see
Yeah.
something break. But yeah, I think it's because it makes me feel powerful. I think that's
Yeah.
really what it comes down to, and like you want to release that energy and see it manifested in something physical,
Yeah.
which is dangerous because like I think that can build up to a point where I've done things in a fit of rage to objects that it's like uncontrolled, but I think if untreated, like it could manifest itself. If I ever got so mad at a person, I could understand, I guess is what I'm saying, how someone could go into a fit of rage and like murder someone and then stand back and be like, oh my goodness, what did I just do? Type of a thing. Because
Yep.
when left unchecked, yeah, it's a fascinating
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. I feel like you feel powerful in the moment, but then I feel powerless afterwards,
Mm,
as far as like powerless to your mind, like
yeah,
you let your mind like get the better of you.
yeah.
So I don't know. That's a tough one, man. I think anybody who deals with that, it's a lifelong journey.
It is a lifelong journey. What helped you to temper it? Do you feel like it's just age? Have you done therapy? Did you get into? I guess you mountain bike, so you slay yourself on a ride. Like what things kind of keep those tendencies at bay?
Probably age, a lot of it. And maybe just like dialing in my routine and like
Mm,
what you're eating, what you're putting into your body. Like, um, I've been I've been 3 years now without doing any kind of. I don't drink alcohol. I don't have caffeine.
good for you.
I don't do any type of stimulants or anything. And I spent a lot of years of my life being just heavily
Jacked up.
stimulated and jacked up. And
Yeah.
so, and I eat really healthy. We farm a lot of our food, a lot of our protein we're farming. And so I try and focus on those things, and maybe that helps to an
Mm,
extent too. Like I feel like I'm always wake up with the same head as I go to sleep with.
mm.
So maybe that's helping too.
Yeah, no kidding. I'll be right back. I have to pee super bad.
Yeah, no
Please
problem.
forgive me. Yeah, I'll be right back. All right. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
So you mentioned farming. I'm curious. So farming, I've never owned a farm. I have done plenty of gardening, but there's something about dealing with plants and animals, but I think particularly with plants and working in the soil that can like just teach you so much about life and work manifests itself in such a different way. Like I feel like it's almost like having a child. And I was talking to someone else about this recently, but you plant a seed and without the nurturing of that seed, it's completely helpless until it gets to a certain point where it can be self-sustaining. Different plants are different. Like a tree is obviously a lot different than a stalk of corn or beans or tomatoes or whatever. But you can like see that work manifested in the fruit and how you prepared the soil and all these things. There's so many metaphors to life. What has gardening and farming taught you about leadership and maybe even like to be a husband
Yeah,
or
yeah, I'm
partner? Sorry,
sure.
yeah.
Like, so we raise pigs and chickens here, and we've been doing it for 5 years now, pretty heavily. And we have a pretty big garden as well. We just got a new like hoop house that Emily will grow in, and um, so yeah, I think for sure with the young animals, like when you have like young pigs, young chickens, you I feel different about them than when they're older. Like I feel like more inclined to like want to make sure they stay alive. And then once they
Yeah.
get going, they're going good.
Hmm.
So yeah, you're definitely like when there's young ones, if you get a batch of 100 young meat birds, I'm gonna get up in the middle of the night or do whatever I can to make sure those things are staying alive. Because it's a big investment. Not I'd say like both financially and just like trying to make sure that you get them to an age where you can actually harvest.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I think especially in those young years, you're gonna do whatever you can. Yeah, there's plenty of times where I'm up in the middle of the night, like trying to run animals out, or something went wrong with a fence, and you're fixing a fence in the middle of the night. Like, I mean, we were fixing a we were fixing a fence one night at 2 or 3 in the morning, and we were running excavators and skid steers because there was like a breach in the fence. I can't remember what happened, and I'm sure I thought like the people across the street were probably thinking we're insane out there running. Like it had to be done. We had an issue with like that there was something getting in on our chickens, and we had to like fix a fence and a chicken house at 3 in the morning, and
Oh my
because this
goodness.
yeah, like a raccoon or something just kept coming in and killed probably 20 chickens
Oh, it didn't
by
even
the
take
time
them.
yeah, just killed them and left them on the ground. And so, at 3 in the morning, you're out there fixing it. And, um,
Hmm.
yeah, I think I'm sure I hope that's going to help here in the future.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, and then um, the gardening side of things like that. That's really Emily's department. I spend a lot of time just helping her build the soil and get the beds ready, and
Hmm.
she puts in so much work to that it's like it's pretty wild. Like our whole basement is just like where she does all her starts, and we have them under the lights, and
That's cool.
it's so, it's so much work. I There's no way I could do it.
A lot
But
of
and
tedious work and repetitive.
a lot of tedious, yeah, and then a lot of failure. That's just massively frustrating for her.
Mm.
So um, yeah, there's, it seems very challenging. You know, if you're spending hours and hours and hours getting a seat in, and you might have all of them just fail, and so I think that has really tests her patience a lot more than it tests mine. So
Yeah.
proud of her for that.
Yeah. Sounds like we need to get you enrolled in some starting do 1,000 mums or 1,000
Yeah,
tomato plants or something like that.
yeah.
That's awesome. So I want to ask a couple more interpersonal questions centered around belief. So I'm going to try out this new question on you. It seems like you'll do well with it, but if not, I apologize. So, what is a new belief or behavior that you've taken over, that you've taken on in the past few years that has changed the way that you act on a daily basis? You have any of those?
Um, yeah, I think that I'd say like um I believe in like other people's ability to work together with you. I think that would maybe be a something that I've like learned a lot in the last five
Mm.
years, is believing in other people's abilities, and passing off as many tasks as you can, and being able to believe in them to succeed. I think I do my best to set everybody up with the tools they need to do the job well. But I think believing in other people has been something that's really helped me dial in our business.
Mm. Do you also feel like you have the people that you need believe in you?
I feel like our team believes in me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've spent a lot of time like making sure or just a lot of years like dialing in the guys that are on our team, and I think we all work really well together. We have similar goals, so I feel like the people around me believe in me, and you can tell when you have an employee or you have somebody who works on your team that you can tell when they don't believe in you, and those people don't normally last long.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can't
Peace.
believe in each other, then it's
Yeah.
just not it's not a good recipe.
Yeah. Well, you can't build a relationship. I feel like relationships have to be the basis for everything because if there's no respect in that friendship, then it's like, yeah,
Yep.
you just end up
Yeah.
fighting. So, broadly speaking, when people look at you, what do you think that they see and what do you want them to see?
Um, yeah, I feel like people see in me because I hear people say it a lot of like, how are you getting it all done? How much like how do you have these different businesses going and get it all done? And typically I kind of feel like there's a lot of day or a lot of weeks where I'm out riding a lot, and I kind of feel like I'm not getting enough done.
Mm.
Um, so I appreciate that people think that think that I'm getting a lot done, and sometimes I definitely don't feel the same way. Like I feel like I'm maybe messing around, going riding too much.
Mm.
Um, so I like that people do think that I'm working really hard, and I try to live up to that. But but yeah,
That's a fascinating topic for me because for a long time, I think I've felt similarly. But what I also realized too, especially being from a position of, so I've done a lot of different contracts, kind of like fractional COO work. And really what that means is like I'll come in and help small to medium sized businesses, like look at their team and work with them anywhere from like usually 6 months to a couple years to go through some new change or process or restructure or whatever. But when working with those people, a lot of people, and I don't want to speak too broadly because I don't think everyone does this, but I think a lot of people are really good at filling time with not doing a whole lot. And that's kind of how people are trained, I think, through the traditional system. It's like, okay, well, if I'm working in manufacturing, I push the buttons or whatever. It's just kind of like this mindset, well, I work from these hours, so I need to fill that time. and there's really no incentive for them to work efficiently, I would say. This is, again, very generalized. This isn't the case for everyone. But what I had to realize is, okay, well, in my life as an entrepreneur, there are stints when I go through a blitz where it's like a week long or a day long or whatever, and I get so much done. Boom, 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 boom. And then I will go and like spend a day, like Friday, I'm not working as much. I'm going to go do a ride and go do these other things and try to learn to be okay with that, because I think that some people just aren't that efficient. And I read this book by Yvon Chouinard, who started Patagonia. And I'll say this first: I'm not a huge believer in the mindsets that Patagonia as a company is. Like, they're very woke in a number of different ways. In some ways, they're really good, but it's, all of their products are made from oil, and then they pretend to be all earthy. So, like, that's a problem in itself. But it's, like, really hilarious. But at the same time, he had this mentality called, like, let my people go surfing. And it's like, if the surf is good, like, leave the office and go do it. And I think that creates an atmosphere for high efficiency and high output, even though it may be, like, scattered across a few days, and there maybe some days are less objectively, like, productive. I think that's, like, honestly how everyone should live. And if they could, that would be a much more productive way of life, because you could work, like you said, for weeks at a time, but if you don't go ride and you can't have that headspace to kind of flush things out and process, it's like it's not happening.
Yeah, yeah. I I have that thought a lot of times, and I wonder like if it can apply to all industries, because I see it like my business. All of our guys, they all ride. We don't have a time clock. Nobody clocks in. Everybody keeps their hours by themselves. They text me their hours. I have an honor system with that. I think it works amazing. If somebody wants to ride all day during while there's good riding to be done, do it. I'm all for it. And then come in at night and get something done, or work through the weekend and get something done. So my business for sure works that way. And everybody that works with us has that mentality. Like, everyone's schedules are different. And so sometimes it's really hard to keep track of who's where and who's working, because we just don't work fixed hours. And I really like that for how we operate. But then I see like my family's business, and I say, I don't think that could possibly work
Mm.
in that structure. It's they're there from 8 o'clock to 4:30 every day, and they expect all the employees to be there in those hours. And if they're not, it's like you're getting a written warning for showing up 30 minutes late. You do it 3 times, you better find a new job. And so I wonder you know if there's any room for that at a business like that in the manufacturing industry. So I don't know. I deal with that thought a lot, where I feel like really privileged to be in the scenario we are, and like really happy to have that. And I don't think every business can work that way. It
Hmm.
wouldn't be possible. So I think that's one of those things where you just have to have a lot of self-awareness and say, we're really lucky to have the flexibility we have, and try and build that environment for other people. And
Hmm.
so I hope everybody that works on our team like appreciates that, and I think they do.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they do. Yeah, I think it's a generational thing too. And it's not to say that there's one right way or wrong way, but the value set on time with family, maybe not, but the way that you spend time working, if everybody is surrounding that business is of that same mindset, then it works. But then if someone sticks outside of it, then it doesn't work as well. I don't know. I guess it does depend on the business. Like manufacturing, I don't know. 10 years from now, it'll probably be a bunch of Optimus robots that are doing a lot of that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately, however you want to say that. But yeah, I don't. Industrialization is a great thing for lifting a country out of poverty or to a new level, but I don't know if it can be if it's like a long-term solution to keep a society continuing to progress. And there's a lot of arguments that or debates you could have around that topic, but it is a fascinating, interesting shift that has been going on in our work
Yeah.
culture. Yeah.
Yeah, even like supply chain, like we have a big Amazon warehouse here now that is distributing like just locally, I guess, and even seeing how I have some buddies who work there, and seeing how that facility works. Like I don't know how, like, they have so much structure there,
Yeah. You're
to
literally a cog in a machine.
it's crazy. And could that system work in any other way? I don't know. Probably, but it seems like they've, done what they've done for good reason.
Hmm.
So, um, Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun to think about those things, but damn, I'm happy with what we've got.
Yeah, no kidding. Last question or so. Are you a religious person?
Not really. I grew up going to Catholic school my whole life. From pre-K through the end of high school, I was at a Catholic school, very traditional Roman Catholic school, and you're spending a lot of your time going to church through school. You're spending an hour a day in a religious study class, and I wouldn't say I'm really a religious person anymore. Not to say I've got any issues with it. I just kind of have peace with what I got going on, and yeah, I definitely still question every day whether there's higher power or not. But yeah, it's interesting one. Yeah, it's something you always battle with. Especially, I feel like growing up going to a Catholic school, like you are so submersed in that culture
Hmm.
that I feel like there's probably less people that come out of that environment being like really dedicated Catholics than there are who stay with it. So um, yeah, it's been a part of my life the whole childhood, and these days it's just one of those things that you just kind of ponder. But yeah,
Would you, or do you think you'll send your son to a similar kind of school?
I don't think so. I could see for sure a private school system, at least for a
Hmm.
certain age, and then maybe transition to some kind of homeschooling system or something. But it'd be hard to. I feel like there was a lot of hours that I wish were used for something maybe more productive.
Mm.
Like I definitely think that those values are really important, but at some point, like when you're 15 years into a Catholic school and now you're just like memorizing Bible verses, I think that's goes beyond like the principles of teaching the principles of Catholicism and just becoming like why are we memorizing Bible verses, and reciting them and writing them down. And so I feel like there was a lot of hours that were just kind of meaninglessly wasted there that
Mm.
hopefully a different school system these days could be more productive. Or I see so many homeschool situations now that are, I guess I wouldn't call them homeschool. They're really just online programs. Like we have a lot of young kids. Like I have one young guy who lives in our cabin, and he's been here for a couple of years, and he finished up high school doing online school here at my house. And so getting to see how some of these talented athletes are getting to structure their life by using online schooling, it just seems so much more productive. I don't think that they're losing out on anything that we were gaining in a traditional school system. So I could really see those high school years being online school, and then maybe the younger years being at some kind of private school. But but yeah, I think the school system is like it's changing so much since we were in high school, and
Yeah.
I think that's it's going in a good direction where it seems like the kids that I see doing the online schooling, they're not missing out on anything, and I feel like they're like learning good self-discipline and structure for when they take their classes, and then still having enough hours to dedicate to, a hobby or a competitive race environment.
Mm. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how school, all the way from, I mean, middle school, grade school, high school, all the way up to college, university changes in the next several years because I know so many universities that are not doing well and they're kind of consolidating more and students are going to fewer schools. And I think my generation, our generation, sees less value in the traditional system in the sense of like get your degree, go find a job. It's just it's definitely a changing time. And education is so ubiquitous with the internet in terms of like how you can get educated. Now you can get educated by some weird stuff, and it may not be totally true, but there's plenty to fill
Yeah.
your head with. But like I don't know, like with YouTube, for example, you can go and even at
Yep.
Harvard, like you can take these courses that are YouTube videos of these people, and if you have the discipline, you can go get your education. I mean, you could
Yeah.
learn almost all there is to know. Download a curriculum for a neuroscience, 5 6 year program with. Obviously, you're not going to get into residency. Maybe in the future you'll be able to, but you could literally go and try to learn all of those things
Yep.
independently, and it's definitely an interesting time.
Yeah, the information's available, that's for darn sure. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like the college experience is really good, but just don't spend all the money you don't have to go, you know.
Dude,
It's
yeah,
if you want to go, there's plenty of ways to do it where you can go to your community college for near nothing. As long as you stay like in state at a small spend 2 years at a community college or take some of your summer classes at a community college to get through quicker. There's plenty of ways to do it where you're not going to go broke.
yeah, or
I mean,
negative.
or yeah, exactly. Yep. And there is scholarships out there, especially if you can keep your grades good. Like I didn't have any crazy scholarships, but at least I was keeping my like 3.0 average or above, and
Mm-hmm.
it was, you know, it was giving me $2,000 off a semester. And so I mean, my whole college budget was very small. Like I mean,
Yeah,
I did not pay very much to go to University of Tennessee as a Tennessee resident, and I feel like we had great professors there, and yeah, it's like I feel like I was a disciplined person, but at the same time, when somebody is like just giving you raw deadlines, um, even as a disciplined person, like sometimes like giving yourself like raw deadlines and or like forcing yourself to cram knowledge that's you
you're
you
forget in 24 hours.
yeah, yeah, but at least you learn to like reach that deadline in a way
Mm-hmm.
that you know you're gonna need that in the future. So you can learn everything online for sure, but having somebody tell you you're going to have this due at this time or you're not going to
Yeah,
pass this
sure.
class, like I think there's some validity to that
There's
for
some
sure.
valid for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And like that feedback loop, I think, especially like studying something like art or design, having that feedback loop where you're in a class with 15 other classmates and a professor, and you might think you've created something that's looks great, makes sense, but when you have 15 people grilling you and just putting you in your place, I think that's really important. So that feedback loop is hard to get on online education. Um, so if you can figure out a way to like create a feedback loop, I think that's important for sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And
So
I mean that carries on to what I do today, you know, with trail building stuff. Like you know, you're getting the feedback loop from your peers, from other good riders who are there. Like, and if you're not listening to that feedback loop, you're just going to carry on like doing doing what you think's great, but you know, it might not be.
yeah. Mm. So final question for you. And we've kind of talked about this, like success. I hesitate to ask you, like, what does success mean to you now? Because I feel like you're going to say, well, I've kind of arrived. I get to spend my time how I want to. But in terms of like where you want to go in life, is there a way that you define what success looks like in your mind to kind of, I don't know, reach a, like, where are you going towards? Like, what are you reaching for, striving for?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I've probably said it 10 times now. I guess just finding that balance. Like to me, success is finding the balance of enjoying life, but at the end of the day, you got to make some money.
Yeah.
And you want to build things and you want to leave a legacy. So to me, success is just, you know, continuing to work on those things. And, yeah, I mean, it's not a dollar amount um, or a pinpoint thing, but, to me, success is just like, enjoying what you're doing, making sure you have good balance in life, and yeah, keeping progressing as an individual.
Mm. Well, Sean, thank you so much for sharing about your breadth of experience, your life. Wish you all the best as you continue to grow your company, grow your family, and a number of other things. I've never actually been to Windrock, which is really sad to say. A lot of my friends have, and they've been bugging me to go. So I just got new carbon wheels back on my mountain bike, so I'll have to get out there sometime or to any of the other bike parks that you've had your hand in. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time and answering my questions, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me, man. Just give me a shout if you're ever on this side of the country.
Will do. Thank you so much to Sean for coming on the podcast, sharing the way that he did. Awesome guy. We got to talk off air about some projects that I've been working on and would love to partner with some people on concerning mountain bike parks and land and stuff. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. If you made it to this part of the podcast, though, just want to say you are the real MVP. Thank you so much for being here. like, comment, subscribe, share this episode if you enjoyed it. And if you want to sign up for our newsletter, check it out. I'm sending it out bi-weekly this year, just with the whole releasing of one episode per week, and baby girl coming literally anytime. I'm recording this on February 3rd, and she's due in the next couple of weeks or so. So that's why I'm doing that. So bi-weekly newsletter and a weekly podcast drop. Yep. All right, cool. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate you, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.